Alright, quick conclusion time before we look at the data. So my thoughts on these are, I probably won't pick the pluggable. The CalDigit is really cool. I actually really like that one, just because of the number of ports. Although I wasn't able to achieve the 40 gigabyte per second speeds as advertised. This one, I absolutely love the design. It seems to run very cool. Love the buttons, but it would not work very well with my USB-C adapters. So unfortunately, I can't choose this one, but if you have got a lot of A's, great choice. This, I require more testing at the time of filming to see if my 5 gig Ethernet adapter will work with this with a drive. Otherwise, I might choose this over Thunderbolt 4 at the time because they just weren't working for me. So this is my thoughts on it, and let's on to the data. Here we are with the data test values. First, I want to go over the SSD with the SSD hooked up to the hub. So the SSD would be the USB style SSD directly attached to the computer via a 10 gig port. So this read average and write average are the average values in my Crystal Disk Mark run. I know that's not 100% accurate, but I felt like I needed to have this average for it to compare against the later charts, and it just made things easier for compressing the data. The data transfer speed is just the value as is, indicated by the test how much data I could transfer to the SSD. So the 1 terabyte Rocket Nano 471 and the 512 at 455. So then I have my UpTab hub right here, and it achieved basically the same speeds. I didn't have a value for the data transfer, that's why it's blank. The iQII, I think that I'm pronouncing that right, 490, 870, and 470. And for the hubs, I tested against the 1 terabyte Nano. The pluggable hooked up via a USB 10 gig port, its values. Then we have the Element from CalDigit, 859, 852, and 493. So again, and then the pluggable hooked up via Thunderbolt 3 on my laptop, 956, 875, and really the most accurate one here is 563, and then the Element 524. So basically, in the end, there's no loss in speed hooking this up to a hub. So now comparing each hub against each other with, in blue, 3 SSDs, red, 2 SSDs, and green, 1 SSD. So that would be 3 hooked up at once doing a test, 2 at once doing a test, 1 at a time, a single one. And the single one is the 1 terabyte Nano. The 2 test is everything but the UpTab, the 1 terabyte and the 512 Nano, and all 3 has a SATA based SSD mixed in there. At that point, pretty much overloading it. So the 2 and the 3 test are averages in the Crystal Disk Mark test, and they're additive. So it's a total average component speed. And the reason I did that is because when I ran them individually, sometimes one would load up first than the other. So I wasn't getting quite the true actual speed, I felt like. So I decided to look at it as a how much total speed transfer rate is there in the hub. And I feel like the Crystal Disk Mark is the least valuable data of it, but I ran the test and I wanted to show what I got, so that's why it's still here. So the UpTab, excuse me, with a 1 SSD, 955, Yumi 940. The iQII I could not test because of its USB-A ports. Most of my SSDs are Type-C, and I just could not get them to connect. And I'm gonna show that in the second part of this video where I was performing the testing. So the pluggable, so this is why I said that some of it had some inconsistencies, because it's achieving more than a 10 gig connection as I add them together. So that's why I just say that this is a less consistent or less reliable analysis. And then the same sort of thing with the right. This is the exact same thing, crystal disk mark, but the additive component or additive total throughput in the right performance with 1, 2, and 3 SSDs. So I'll leave this here for a couple more seconds. And now for the data transfer test. If it's zeroed, I did not have an opportunity to run the test because it either arrowed out on itself. The UpTab one is older, and I had some problems with it and it just did not run. And a different reason for the iCUI, again with the USB-As. So 1, 2, and 3 SSDs, and again I added how much write performance there was. So all three were not getting 844 megabytes per second in the UMI, but all three added together got 844 megabit connection or megabit transfer speed, while the individual single one got 477. So this tells you how much performance there is total, how much it can crank through the device. And usually you should see that the 3 SSDs together should have the highest value because it's basically completely loading up the hub with the max amount it can handle. And it's having to negotiate 3 transfers going through it at once. And in this test, it was transferring from a internal NVMe SSD rated at like 2 gigabit per second. So that's 2,000 megabytes per second. So it might be a small bottleneck there, but the hub should be the big thing. So as you can see here, the Element USB versus Element Thunderbolt, pluggable Thunderbolt versus pluggable USB. Very similar performance values overall comparing USB and Thunderbolt. I think it was not operating correctly. I don't really know why. I don't have any Thunderbolt drives personally, so I cannot test that. So I'm not sure why these turn out to be the same. It really should have been, in my mind, should have been achieving close to like 2,000 across the 3, maybe about there, or at least over bigger over 1,000. But this is the data that I was able to achieve. And my laptop is a Lenovo C940. It has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, and it was registering as Thunderbolt 3, which is why the second half of this video I'm going to show some of the testing. So I'll see you in a second with the testing section and the little video clips I took while I was testing out each hub. Hi, I'm in the middle of testing the first one. I believe this brand is Yippee, and this is the unpowered USB 3 Gen 2 10 gigabyte per second. I just finished running my silver one, which is a 1 terabyte, so I think it's the fastest. This is a 512, and it's powering 2 of them simultaneously, and these are the performance marks I'm getting right now. We'll check in a little bit and see the other ones, and I'll have comments if this can power 3 devices. All right, there we go. It is now powering 1, 2, 3. There's the third one plugged in right there. 3 devices. So that's very impressive. So so far this little Gen 2 USB is really impressing me. Okay, next up live with my data test. Oh my gosh, why is it doing this to me now? There we go. You can see me videotaping myself. All right, there's all three still running on this. Oh, there we go. Start doing this with one hand. There we go. It's all around 200 megabytes per second, which is to be expected. Well, I seem to be having trouble getting all my SSDs connect to this one, the Inca. You can see that I've got 3 lights on, but I'm missing a drive. It's loading, and when I access this one, it locks itself up. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to test this one. If I manage to get everything working, I'll have my data. But if you have just USB-A port devices, I think this is fantastic. It feels very premium, and the buttons have a nice push feel to them. So like to turn it off, you can press and hold. Now it's off. 2 seconds, and then you push it and turn it on. This one wasn't being accessed, which is why I didn't mind doing that while other stuff is loading, just in case you all are wondering. So we'll see what happens with this one. I really wanted to like this one, but these are either finicky, which I think they have been in the past. I've tried rotating the plugs, but it's not working. So we'll see if I get it working, and if I do, I'll have the test data. All right, here it says it's hooked up via Thunderbolt, the pluggable, but I'm getting some odd behavior from it. See, there it is. It shouldn't matter that I have all 3 plugged in if I'm only accessing 2 at once. So we're going to continue the testing and see how things turn out. 2 and 3. All right. Look forward to seeing the data. Well, I tried cooling down the SSDs because they seem to be running hot. But it looks like I got the same values about. All right, continuing with the behavior. That's interesting. So 1, 2, my 2 10 gigs, and then there's a 5. And see that it's hooked up via Thunderbolt, but these 2 should be getting full speed like originally over there. Oh, why did that just change? And let's just go ahead and continue where we were. And I'll let the data speak for itself. All right, and here we are with the CalDigit data transfer test. There we are, first one. And the second one. Let it go for a little bit, and let's add the third one. And there are the data transfer speeds. Okay, final conclusion time. Which one did I actually decide to go with? I decided to keep the CalDigit and the iQOO because this one is powered but doesn't have power delivery, which is convenient for a couple of my devices where I have it hooked up to a computer basically, and it's not trying to charge the computer off that. I didn't go with the pluggable, mainly because it only had one type A port. Everything else about it was great. I would highly recommend if you don't need the A ports and you'll save a few bucks, then going with the CalDigit. And I didn't go with this one, still unbranded, mostly because of concerns about, well, no reviews, and it ran particularly hot compared to the other ones. So I have concerns about its longevity. But if what you need are 3 ports and the SD card reader, this might be a good choice for a light duty use hub, but for one where you need it operating all the time, a powered one like this, or probably a USB 4, just for future compatibility. But there's the conclusion. Please subscribe for more content, and thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.